Welcome back. If you've been watching our other videos, we've made a series of tables. Now I'd like to go ahead and join all of my tables together. And something that I hadn't mentioned, but this is probably useful to do at the beginning, before you start making your data set, is to decide what columns you want. So I just kind of mocked this up in Excel. I want a patient number. I could even record what that would look like. So it would be a number. Okay, 1980. Age at surgery, that would be an age. The surgery date, the minimum height, the minimum height date, the pre-surgery weight, and I specified here, so by minimum height, I mean the actual patient's shortest height we ever recorded, is what I was interested in. Then I have a pre-surgery weight, and I had a window of plus or minus 30 days from the surgery, and if there was more than one weight, then I chose the earliest one. So this person's 80 kilograms, and then the surgery date was on March 4th, and their weight was on February 22nd, 2015. And then under the age of 12 or over the age of 12, so this person was 17, so I would anticipate a no. So I've already made a lot of the tables that house this information in SQL. And so now we want to go ahead and learn how to join it together. So I'm going to go ahead and minimize this. And I'm going to click on Browse Data. And so Data View is what originally came to us from the HERON query. And then we've made a series of tables. So we made the minimum height, as you'll recall. And so we did exactly what I said before, the patient's actual minimum height. And then we've got the start date is the date of that height. We've also got the earliest weight pre-surgery, so within that plus or minus 30 days. And then we've got surgery age. We have the surgery date. In this table, tonsils, we've got if it was under 12 or over 12 based on this variable. We've got weights. And so we've got a number of different tables that we're going to go ahead and join together. And looking back at this, some of my table names were not all that descriptive. So just be mindful when you're making your tables. You probably want to give them useful table names that will be useful to you looking back. All right, so let's get started. So if I look at the Excel, we would like the patient number, age at surgery, and surgery date. So let's go find where we've got the age at surgery. I think we had a table, surgery age. Okay, so I'm going to say select star, which as you'll remember, that means everything in that column, all the columns in the table, from surgery underscore age. And I highlight that and let's run that. So that's got the patient number, the surgery date, the age in years, and the birth date. So now if I want to make it be in this order, we can do that. So I can say select surgery age dot, the first thing I had was patient num, comma, surgery age dot, age in years. And then I believe that I had surgery age dot surgery date. Yep, from surgery age. So let's go ahead and run that. That's going to get rid of the birth date because I'm not interested in that in my final data set. Now I want the minimum height and the minimum height date. So let's go look at our table. Actually, you can see your tables right here. So I've got this table minimum height. So we've learned in other videos to use the join. So I'm going to go ahead and join this minimum height. And I'm going to say a left join because I want all of the patients in my surgery age table. And I can cheat and use this arrow right here to see what columns are in my minimum height table. I could have also done a select star from min height to see what was in it. But now I'm going to go ahead and look. So I know that I want the minimum height and then the start date. So I'm going to say, so I first need to specify which table this is coming from. So min underscore height dot, let's choose the min height. So that was the table name dot variable name, and they happen to be the same, comma, min height as the table name dot start date, because that's the date. But now I want to say as min height date. Now that's an alias so that the column is labeled appropriately, because if we have start date from multiple different things, that's going to get really confusing really quickly. So I'm going to go ahead, whenever you use a join, you have to say what to join it on. So I'm going to say on surgery age dot patient num equals min height, again that's our table name, dot patient num, which is our column name, and I'm going to go ahead and run that. Okay, and you see our table just expanded, and so now we've got the patient number, the age, the surgery date, their minimum height, and the date of that minimum height. Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at the pre-surgery weight plus or minus 30 days from surgery. So that is in our table, earliest weight pre-surgery. Okay. So I'm going to do another left join, because I think I recall that we might not have had all of the patients' weight in a plus or minus 30-day window. So we might have some spots that are null. We'll see. So left join earliest weight pre-surgery. Again, on surgery age dot patient num equals earliest weight dot patient num. And I'm going to go ahead and add the columns that I want here. So I want the earliest weight, which is nval. That's the numerical value, and I'm going to say as weight. I'll say as earliest weight, comma, and then I also want the earliest weight date. So earliest weight date. And if you do not remember what nval was, we could do, like I said before, we can do select star from earliest weight pre-surgery. And we can go ahead and run that. And you would see that the nval has a number that looks like a weight. Okay? Now I'm going to go ahead and run what I just typed up. And you'll see we've got our earliest weights now filled in, and we have some that are null because they didn't have a weight within that plus or minus 30 days. And so you might go back and decide to make your criteria for when the weights happen a little bit less stringent, or you might decide, nope, you really want it within the plus or minus 30 days and just go with that. And again, don't forget, I renamed this nval as earliest weight so that it shows up nicely in our table. If it had said nval, that would be less useful. So now we're going to go ahead. So what did I have next? Next we have under age 12, yes or no. So that is in our table called tonsils. And we've got an under 12 column. Now, I just happen to remember, so I'll show you what happens. We have more than one row. Select all from tonsils. Let me show you that. Some of these patients have more than one row here in this table. So when I created the table, I should have done a distinct so that I only got one row. Especially, you can do extra programming to make sure that, this 4364, that they both say yes. before you just get rid of the second one. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what happens when we join the tables, as they are, and then we'll try to make a modification. So left join tonsils on surgery age dot patient num equals tonsils dot patient num, and let's go ahead and choose, we really only want that under 12, but again I have to specify the table that it's coming from, dot under 12. Alright, so let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so you see we've got our patient number, which we wanted, our age in years, that's at the time of surgery, the surgery date, the minimum height date, earliest weight date, and then under 12, yes or no. So this is exactly what I said that I wanted, except for what I didn't mention is that I also only want one row per patient. That's typically how you want to do your analysis, with just one row per patient. So this isn't bad. It looks like we typically have 2 rows per patient, but really I only want the 1 row per patient. So I would want to go back and edit our tonsil table. And the simple way to do that is I'm just going to say select distinct patient num, and then I also want that under 12 from tonsils. So let's take a look at this. So now I get back my 12 patients with a yes or no. So I'm just going to say create table under 12 as. So we're going to make a new table. Go ahead and run that. And now I'm going to just switch up here. Instead of saying tonsils, I'm going to say under 12 and say under 12. So now if I run this, we should have 1 row per patient. So it says no such column under 12, under 12. Select all from, let's see if I got that table created, under 12. Try retyping this. Just going to make sure that that table is here, and it is. Under 12. Let's try that. Try that again and see if it works. Let's try this one more time. Under 12 dot. So I'm looking at why adding this error, no such column under 12 dot under 12. And I was struggling to figure out why I'm getting that error. But if you look at what we're selecting all of these things from these tables. And so when you look at the bottom, it says left join tonsils. But I had renamed my table when I did this, when I did the distinct patient numbers, I renamed the table as under 12. So I need to say that we're joining on that table so that it knows where it's looking for these different variables. Now when I run this, it should work. Okay, so there we go. That worked as expected. And now you can see that we have 12 rows returned, and that's exactly how many people we had in the patient set. And so we've got 1 row per patient, and we've got everything that I wanted in it. We have the patient number, the age in years, the surgery date, the minimum height date, earliest weight, the date, and under 12 yes or no. So that's just a way to join all of your tables together, and that's pretty much a great strategy for taking the HERON data and getting it ready to put into something like SPSS or SAS to analyze, is to get an idea of what you want by mocking it up in an Excel spreadsheet. So make all your columns that you're looking for, and then try to make smaller tables, looking at just the surgery date and the surgery age and then the height and the weight, and then go ahead and join all of those tables together. The final step that I'll show you real quick is to export the data. So you're going to just click down here and say export to CSV. You'll want to say that the column names are in the first line. Field separator is comma, quote, and then you'll want to choose Windows if you have a Windows. So when you click OK, you can save it to somewhere secure. I'm just going to save it to my desktop because all of this is fake patient data. So tonsil example, and I'm going to save it as a .csv. Now I'll show you. I gotta make sure that opens correctly. Tonsil example, and now you can see that this is, here's your CSV file of everything that you're looking at. Well, thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions about using SQL to transform your data, please let us know. Have a great afternoon.